What's good, y'all? It's Venom Sports once again, and man, it is bowl season. Did anybody check out that Cheetos or Cheez-It Bowl today? TCU and California was involved in a very epic matchup. Probably one of the craziest games that I kind of had a chance to look at from a distance in my life. 9 interceptions. So definitely the bowl season madness is on. And right now, we're going to talk about those Auburn Tigers taking on Purdue. And it looks like it could be some fireworks down in Nashville, Tennessee, for the Music City Bowl as Auburn and Purdue face each other for the very first time. Auburn is actually no stranger to the Music City Bowl as they appeared in 2003, beating another Big Ten conference team in Wisconsin 28-14. The Music City is obviously a respectable bowl as far as attendance. They average about 55,000 people for that game, and I think with the way the bowl committee set this thing up, I don't think it should be any different this year. These are two very good football teams. These are two very entertaining football teams. And, when you look at it proximity-wise, Purdue is really not that far away from Nashville, so their fan base should kind of ease over into Nashville. And, obviously Auburn fans, there's a lot of Auburn fans in the Nashville area, a lot of Auburn fans in Huntsville, which is not too far away. And Auburn typically travels well. Now, when we look at Purdue against the SEC, they are actually 1-2 against SEC in bowl games all time, whereas Auburn against bowl teams in the Big Ten are actually 6-4. Now we're going to talk about Purdue real quick. I think this is an incredible matchup. I think these are two very athletic teams, but I also think these are two football teams that missed an incredible opportunity to actually be playing each other in a New Year's Six Bowl. For Purdue, they have a 6-6 record, but after looking at them on film, I think they're one of the best 500 teams in the country. They have played very well and played very competitively against some of the best teams in the country. That 6-6 record does not justify how good this team has been, especially on offense. I think Purdue boasts one of the best offensive skill players in the country in Rondale Moore. If you haven't seen this young man play, he has 103 catches for 1,164 yards. And the thing about it, he has 12 touchdowns, but the thing about it, he's not their only guy. I think Purdue does an incredible job of spreading the football around. They have a couple of other good receivers in Isaac Zico and Brian Hopkins. Both of those players have at least 500-plus yards, so they're definitely going to be players that the Auburn secondary, who is actually very young, very inexperienced, but they're very athletic and talented and have been a very good part of the production piece for the Auburn defense. But they're going to be challenged today because Purdue likes to really stretch you out vertically. They like doing screens. They like doing end arounds. They're very fast and they're very efficient on offense. Defensively, Purdue is not quite as they're not quite as effective as they are offensively. They give up about 27 points per game, led by junior Marcus Bailey, who's very active at that linebacker position. He has 104 tackles and will look to lead his team against statistically a very struggling Auburn offense. With that said, you all have to look at Purdue. This is a team that actually beat Ohio State soundly early this year. I think this is a great football team, and this is going to be a very, very good matchup, a very entertaining matchup for the Auburn Tigers and Purdue. Now, here's the thing. This game takes place at 1:30 on ESPN. I think you need to get up early to watch this game. This is going to be a very entertaining football game. Auburn, on the other hand, is a team who came into the season with very high expectations. I think this is when I've looked at Auburn play off and on all year, it's just the season that got away, to be honest with you. I think this is a very, very talented team, and they play especially well on the defensive front, led by Derek Brown, who may or may not play. Who knows? I'm not sure. Also, they have a very, very hard-working, very fundamentally sound Deshaun Davis, who is their middle linebacker, all SEC. Initially didn't get the invite to the Senior Bowl, but it turns out he's going to represent Auburn in the Senior Bowl, and rightfully so. This is a very incredible young man. He actually got the Good Guy Award for the Auburn Tigers. But on the offensive side of the football, unnecessarily, in my opinion, when you look at all the skilled players that Auburn have, unnecessarily struggling on the offensive side of the ball. And from what I understand, as the season started to develop, Chip Lindsey called plays. And just looking at the history of Gus Malzahn, it was obvious that Gus Malzahn wasn't calling plays. You didn't see the little posters with the pictures all on the sideline and all that other stuff, and him doing all this, trying to get the offense going. It was almost like they were fighting against one another. At one point, they wanted to go tempo. Other points, they wanted to go, a regular pro-style offense, and it just didn't work out. Production was very, very, very menial for Auburn this year. Now, a year ago, Auburn was incredible running the ball. If you have followed any of Gus Malzahn's offenses, you know that he is very comfortable with a run-based offense. He will run the football over and over and over again. And when I look at the stats, this season they only averaged an inexplicable 169 yards. Last year, averaging 218 yards. What was really challenging for Auburn as well is their play selection. You can tell this wasn't necessarily a Gus Malzahn called offense, because last year they ran the ball 642 times. This year in 2018, only 460 times for here in 2018. Now, here's the deal. I think Purdue has a bit of a challenge because Gus Malzahn has not been the play caller. So when they look at film, they're not going to be looking at the potential strategy that they're going to see in this game. Auburn actually has a lot of weapons that they can go through. They have Seth Williams at wide receiver. They have Ryan Davis at wide receiver. They have Sal Cannella at wide receiver. And they have Darius Slayton, which is their deep guy. Also, running the football, Sean Shivers, Boobie Whitlow. All of those guys have the potential to have a really breakout game, especially given the diversity of play calling and the way Gus Malzahn likes to spread the ball around and keep defenses off balance. I mean, these guys are very good, but I think they were very under or just not utilized at all. The skilled players are very good. Also, you got to look at Jarrett Stidham, who has decided to go to the NFL, who decided to declare for the NFL early. Jarrett Stidham has been a very good quarterback statistically for Auburn. He has been pressured somewhat during this year and just didn't have the year that everyone expected. But when Jarrett Stidham has time and when Jarrett Stidham is in his comfortable element, he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country. I think you're probably looking at a third-round quarterback, and I think someone in the NFL is going to get this guy at a steal. But they struggle mightily. The offensive line has struggled mightily, but with Gus Malzahn calling plays, he's gonna give a lot of quick hitters, if you will, to actually take a lot of pressure off of the offense. I think this is going to be a very, very balanced football game. The strong point of the defense for Auburn is absolutely have to put pressure on Purdue. They have to make sure they key in on Rondale Moore, because this guy is very explosive. Once he gets out in the open field, he can be very dangerous. Has over 1,100 yards receiving this year. So it's prediction time, y'all. And you know how I like to do this. I am, really big on Gus Malzahn as a play caller in this game. I think this changes the whole trajectory of Auburn's offense. I think they become way more productive in this particular football game. They spread the ball around to their key skill players. I think Purdue is very athletic and is going to be able to put up some points against Auburn, but Auburn's physicality at the line of scrimmage, especially on defense, is going to keep Purdue off balance. Expect some fireworks early. I think early Purdue is going to have Auburn a little bit off balance, but I think Kevin Steele, the defensive coordinator for Auburn, is going to be able to reel that thing in and actually figure out what Purdue is trying to do. I think the advantage goes to Auburn because, really Purdue just does not know how Gus Malzahn is going to utilize his weapons because he hadn't been at the helm all year. So when I look at this game, I think Auburn kind of sort of has to win this game. I think they really need a solid win over a Power 5 team. I think even though a lot of people are trying to say that this is a non-consequential game, but I think this is a game that Gus Malzahn absolutely needs to win. And I think he needs to win it pretty soundly, and I think he will. When I predict this game and looking at both teams as they have played, but with this added element of Gus Malzahn calling the plays, I look at a 35-17, very entertaining win for Auburn as they pull off probably in the third, fourth quarter. This is going to be a different Auburn team from what people have seen all year. Once again, is K-Stu the GOAT. Stuart V for Venom Sports, and you know we spit that fire. We got some more videos coming for this bowl season. Man, I need some more subscribers, man. 26 does not justify what we're doing over here. You all have an incredible day. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you all enjoy this bowl season.